Ever wonder if your dog's lying there, watching you eat, thinking, man, if I had thumbs? Most people believe dogs live in the moment, happy with walks, food, and naps. But spend 5 minutes with King Charles, and you'll start thinking otherwise. He's not just existing. He's observing, calculating, deciding when to make his next move. Watch him during feeding time. He doesn't rush. He waits until he knows exactly where every bowl lands. That's not a hungry dog. That's a strategist. If he ever got the chance to be human, you wouldn't see him chasing tennis balls. You'd see him running meetings, signing deals, and probably firing people. Dogs like KC don't just want comfort, they want control. And you have to ask yourself, is he content as a dog, or is he quietly wishing for the upgrade? Science says dogs dream about their daily life, chasing, playing, eating. But the way King Charles twitches in his sleep, that's not chasing a ball. That's running simulations. Shelter alphas study human behavior like it's a chess game. They learn patterns, reactions, the little tricks that get them what they want. If they imagine being human, it's not for fun. It's for advantage. King Charles is not fantasizing about playing fetch. He's plotting boardroom moves. You think he's snoring? No. He's manifesting. He's picturing himself walking upright, holding the leash instead of wearing it. If becoming human means getting even more control over his world, why wouldn't he think about it? And the scary part? If it ever happened, he wouldn't need years to adjust. He'd wake up ready to take over. There's one thing holding dogs back from total domination: thumbs. KC knows it. Watch his eyes when you unlock a door or open a jar. That's not curiosity. That's frustration. He's imagining how easy life would be if he could grab, twist, and build. In a human body, KC wouldn't wait for you to feed him. He'd cook. He wouldn't need you to take him for walks. He'd drive himself to the steakhouse. And if he had thumbs, trust me, you wouldn't be throwing the ball for him anymore. You'd be the one running after it. Dogs like KC already control the room without human tools. Give him hands, and the balance shifts instantly. The only reason we're still in charge is because evolution gave us grip strength first. KC's just biding his time. Inside a shelter, dominance is currency. KC already rules the canine hierarchy without raising his voice or his paw. Now imagine if he were human. No one in that building would have a chance. He'd win over the staff, reorganize the food distribution, and have the best sleeping spot in under a week. As a man, KC wouldn't just be popular, he'd be feared. Other dogs would line up to serve him, and humans? They'd be too busy trying to figure out how some guy with that kind of beard and stare managed to get everyone to follow his orders. The truth is, being human wouldn't change KC's nature. It would just make his dominance official. The alpha wouldn't just run the pack, he'd run the entire system. Some people think dogs can read minds. They can't, but the best ones don't need to. KC studies you so closely, he knows what you're about to do before you do it. He sees the way your shoulders shift when you're about to stand, the way your breathing changes when you're about to get food. If he were human, that skill would make him unstoppable. He'd be the guy who closes deals before the meeting even starts, because he already knows your answer. In the shelter, this is how KC keeps control. By reading energy, spotting weakness, and acting on it instantly. Mind reading? No. It's observation turned into power. And if you think that wouldn't transfer perfectly to human life, you don't know King Charles. If dogs became human, the first thing they'd notice, how painfully inefficient we are. KC wouldn't waste time overthinking. He wouldn't hold endless meetings. He'd make the call, execute the plan, and move on. Humans spend years chasing things they don't even need. Dogs like KC, they zero in on survival, loyalty, and control, and they lock it down fast. If KC woke up as a man tomorrow, he'd solve his housing, income, and status in a single day. Meanwhile, most humans can't even decide what they want for lunch. The harsh truth is, some dogs would make better humans than actual humans. KC's glare already says it all. You people make this harder than it has to be. Here's the twist. Maybe being human isn't the upgrade we think. KC doesn't pay taxes. He doesn't check emails. He's never stressed over Wi-Fi going down. If he became human, would he regret trading belly rubs for bills? Maybe. But for a dog like KC, curiosity would win. He'd take the chance just to prove he could outplay us at our own game. And knowing him, he'd succeed. Still, deep down, there's a comfort in being a dog, living without the noise, trusting instincts, and ruling your world without bureaucracy. KC might miss the simplicity, but he'd never admit it. And if you asked, he'd just smirk, because kings don't second-guess their decisions, even when they do. Humans brag about empathy, but dogs live it. KC can sense tension before it explodes, read sadness in your silence, and know exactly when to push and when to stay back. If he were human, this emotional radar would make him dangerous. He could become a billionaire therapist, getting inside people's heads for profit. Or worse, a politician who wins votes without ever revealing his real plan. In the shelter, this is why KC survives every conflict. He doesn't just win fights. He avoids the ones he can't win yet. That kind of calculated emotional awareness is rare in humans. But in KC, it's built in. And it's one more reason why in the human world, he'd still end up on top. Picture this. KC wakes up human. First hour, clears the fridge. Second hour, walks into a real estate office and somehow leaves with property. By sunset, elected shelter director, replacing cages with couches. By midnight, the entire block calls him sir. And you? You're still wondering how the guy at the bar smells like a dog bed but tips better than anyone else. This isn't fantasy. This is exactly how KC operates now, just scaled up. Give him the tools of a man, and the world's infrastructure bends in his favor. You wouldn't even notice the takeover until you were already working for him. So do dogs wish they were human? For most, probably not. But King Charles? He doesn't wish, he plans. Every glance, every pause, every quiet move is part of a bigger strategy. He's not limited by the body he's in. He's just waiting for the opportunity to scale his power. Being human wouldn't make him king. It would just make his crown visible. And maybe that's the real reason he hasn't made the switch. He already runs this place without lifting a finger. Why settle for being human when you can already be royalty?